Let's take a look at this image here with the targeted color adjustment tool. I'm going to open this one up into the develop module. The bird landed with this bright colored background behind him. It is a hedge in the distance, but it was an autumn color and it's catching the sun. Well, you can see the effect. Now we know we can go to the hue, saturation and luminance sliders, or the color sliders, and we could select the yellows and we could just drag them down, but we have an option here which is quite effective. Adjust saturation by dragging in the photo. If I selected hue, then it will tell me that I can adjust hue by dragging in the photo, and the same with luminance, but I think saturation is going to do the job for us. And what I need to do is to select the tool, and when I move on to the screen, it's giving me a little warning, or a little guide if you like, what I need to do. I've got an up and down arrow there, so I'm going to click into the color I want to affect, and I'm going to drag upwards or downwards, whichever the case may be. And as I go down, you can see I kill practically all of the color. But at the same time, if you look over to the right hand side, as I'm moving my mouse up and down the screen to the right of the bird, you can't see any effect of it, but you can if you look over in the saturation controls. So I can drop this down. Then I could switch to the luminance maybe, if I wanted to darken it a little bit. And suddenly the bird starts to pop out from the background a little more. And as I keep saying, it doesn't matter if we go back and we adjust one, adjust another, and that brings us to come back to the previous one and make another adjustment. That's quite normal. I'm doing that all of the time. Of course, with an image like this, I would be making other changes too. And we're going to come back and work through one or two of the images from start to finish, but trying to keep the tools and techniques separate to make it easy for you to select them and watch the video. We need to keep things a little bit focused. But here I would be putting some clarity into the image. Maybe I would put a little bit of whites in there, maybe a little bit of black to increase the contrast. You can see how we're beginning to make the image lift from the screen. Needs a little bit of a crop at the top as well. We've got a little light area creeping in, but we'll deal with those as we go through the remainder of the videos. Let's take one more look at the targeted adjustment tool by jumping back to the library. And I'm going to select this image, very dull, but let's open this one up. If we look at the histogram, remember what we said about the histogram, we need to make some changes here. But let's try the auto button just for speed. It does a pretty good job, but it makes it a little bit too bright for me. So I'm just going to drop the exposure down a little bit. And now it's looking much nicer. I could increase the vibrance a little bit, and if I was happy with that, especially around the outer edge, that's fine. But I do also have the option via that hue, saturation and luminance slider to use the targeted adjustment tool. So if I wanted to just affect the blues in the picture here and increase the contrast, I'm just dragging upwards. You can see on the right hand side the slider is going that way, but it does allow me to pick the color. If I wanted to kill some of the greens down here, of course, I can do that by dragging downwards. So I'm taking away the fact that the bright green in the bottom left corner may attract our attention, and then I can come back to the blue if I change my mind and start to increase the color even more if I want to. How many times do you think we're going to make changes to an image and think it's great, and when we open up Lightroom a day or so later, the image catches our eye and we think, ooh, that's not so great. We need to make a change. Well, the way Lightroom works leaves us to be able to do that because all of the editing is non-destructive. So I can quickly jump back into the develop module here. And I've got a number of choices, of course. I can reduce that saturation if I want, using the targeted adjustment tool or the sliders. But perhaps I can have a little bit of an experiment here. Perhaps I can do something a little bit different and use the hue almost as a creative tool. Just goes to show how they all cross over at some stage. If I select it and I pick up my targeted tool, what I can do is select the blue and maybe change it. If I go one way, we get a quite nasty turquoise colour, but if I go the other way, the blue changes a lot. Much more of a royal blue, and of course lots of personal choices here. And of course now I've decided that I might want to do something with the orange as well and improve that. So I can click and drag around here and improve the colours there as well. Infinite change at any time, non-destructive. While we're demonstrating with the files that I've set aside here to be able to do so, you'll notice that we've now got a number of images here where we've made some changes to them. You can see how we could clearly start to lose track and forget just what we've done with each image. We do get little symbols down here to tell us that we've done some editing look. But there are times when we may want to take a batch of images and reset them back to where they started from. And we can do that at any time, and because I'm doing a demonstration here, I'm not too concerned about doing that. I'm going to hit Ctrl-A, select all of those thumbnails, right click, and we need to choose Develop Settings, Reset. And I can reset the entire batch back to where we started.